Good morning, trekkers. It is Saturday, January 9th, 2021. I am standing on Porcupine Lake in Porcupine Lake Wilderness, up in Bayfield County, Wisconsin. Right now, that puts me at about 4.5 miles on the morning's hike. About 3 hours in. It's around 22 degrees Fahrenheit, and as you can see, it's rather cloudy. Very humid as well. But it's been a very pleasant hike thus far. The trail has been already run by snowshoes earlier this week, or at least since the last snowfall. There have been footprints and it's been quite easy to follow. Got started just before dawn this morning, like I usually like to do. A little bit of headlamp action as we were coming in on the trail, made for just a spectacular wooded scenery. The goal today is to hike the North Country Trail through the Porcupine Lake Wilderness. That'll be around 7 miles one way. Then we'll turn around and walk it back. Got up here last night under very starry skies. It was quite pretty, quite cold. Had a good sleep. It was a little chilly, but got a good sleeping bag and a good sleep system. Getting up this morning, putting on socks, getting clothes all together, getting the pack ready, that was a little bit more challenging. And it took about a mile to 1.25 miles before my fingers warmed up to where I could feel them again. But all's fair in love and hiking. Oh, just a gorgeous, gorgeous day. This is a spectacular winter day. It may not look like it to some, but for those of you who spend a lot of time out in the winter, you know what this is like. You'll notice that I like to wear these convertible flip-top gloves. Got a nice pair here that is water resistant, and they're working out very well today. Oh, and by the way, Ruthie, thank you for sewing the thumb shut. It's working perfectly. These are secured by magnets. Guess what happens when you try to use your compass with a magnet? Yeah, it just really doesn't like to go, whoa, look at that. Yeah, that's fun. So, you're wearing flip-top gloves that are secured by magnets, you need to take them off to work your compass. From this point forward, we can expect the trail to be rather well traveled, at least up until the side trail that goes off to the first of the parking lots along Forest Road 213. You can see we have sled marks, and actually there's a few of them, and a lot of boot prints and a lot of snowshoes. And it goes out there, right out into the middle of the lake where they went ice fishing. Breathing a little heavy here. Climbing up a nice big hill. This is roly-poly terrain here. No super hills, but plenty of small ones. Down there is another look at 18 Mile Pond. No, it does not mean I've come 18 miles. I've come 6. And people, it would have been right about 9:30 in the morning. Came across some ice fishermen going out to the lake. And now I just had a short distance chat with a couple on their snowshoes. They've been out here for about an hour or so. So, trail activity has picked up. I am very impressed with this wilderness area. Somebody's got to come in here with a GPS because I have 7.8. Subtract a little bit for going back and forth for camera work. Yeah, it's easily 7.5. Eight hours on the clock, a little bit over, and about 12.5 miles in on the day. Probably 2 miles to go. I didn't measure that out, but I believe that's about right. So, a little over an hour to go yet. And as predicted, these last couple miles and the remaining miles going to be a struggle, have been a struggle. The back isn't too bad. It's getting pretty tight. It's starting to hurt. Some twinges now and again. Both knees are complaining. But the real troubling part is the left leg. It's getting pretty difficult to keep that moving forward. Hamstring is tight. Quad is on fire. Glutes are like a brick. That's kind of what happens when I'm not having a good day. And I can rest as much as I want, but at some point it's just not going to work. Things just fall apart. And that's what makes this the challenge. That's what makes this difficult. And it's also why I keep coming out here. One of the reasons. Keep doing this. Keep trying. Keep pushing it a little bit. And the reward is all of this. This is absolutely splendid. If I'm quiet for a moment, just listen. The only thing I can hear is the ringing in my left ear. Other than that, it is absolutely stone cold quiet. No wind, no birds. Right now, no cars, no other people, no snowmobiles, no airplanes. About 11:30 at night. Yeah. Found a place to park. Made some supper. Before that, ran into a couple of ladies and talked to them for almost a half an hour. And it turns out that they're both adventure racers, and the one of them has actually been in adventure races that I've been in and that I've supported way back a long time ago. We're talking 16, 17 years ago. So that was really kind of neat to just run into somebody from that past life just out here in the middle of the Chequamegon. That was pretty neat. Boy, I took a short walk just to stretch out the legs because, man, hurting like you would not believe. Not a good day for the body. And ended up falling asleep about 8 o'clock. Slept on and off for a couple of hours, and now it's almost midnight and I'm not tired. Kind of the way it goes. But yeah, I'll fall asleep here in a little bit, and I don't know what tomorrow is going to be like. It really depends on the legs. If they feel like they do now, it's just going to be driving around. There won't be snowshoeing or anything like that. I'm sure hoping you can still get out and do that, but no guarantee of that. I'm in pretty bad shape right now. But I'm in here, pretty warm. Just with all the reflectix around everything, and got it heated up, and then heated up from body heat, and I don't know, it's above freezing in here right now, and it certainly is not that outside. So, it'd be pretty comfortable. Should sleep pretty well if it wasn't for hurting. Well, in the morning. So, Turtle, you're out here breaking fresh trail, and it's snow. How do you know where you're going? Well, unlike in the wilderness area, this will be marked. Wilderness area, they don't mark the trail. Can make it very interesting. So, follow the blazes. If you haven't seen a blaze in a while, in a good 100 yards, turn around. Other thing you really look at is just, you can see the width change between this and something like this or this over here. That width change, the fact that it's somewhat concave, That also tells me that this is probably a trail of some sort. And this right there, if there was no blaze, tells me a person made it. I've got 2 logs that once were one, and a whole section is missing. Well, trekkers, we made it to Forest Road 373. Had about 1.7 miles. And this is going to be our turnaround point for this morning's snowshoeing. I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm tired, but actually feeling pretty good. The legs have loosened up a little bit, but let's not overdo it. We have some scouting to do. So we'll head back the way we came. And we'll be right back on this road, but we'll be in a 4-wheel vehicle. And we're going to go do some scouting over in the Rainbow Lakes Wilderness area and that side of Drummond, and just see what the roads look like, where the parking is, how things look, because that could very well be one of our next trips up here. So there'll be some more video to come, but let's just recap it here and say our farewells. We had a great weekend. The weather was very cooperative with temperatures in the low 20s, but very little wind, only a smattering of snow, overcast and very humid the whole time, but it made for a really pleasant travel through the woods. Yesterday we hit 14 miles right on the button. A little bit more than half of it was on trail and the rest of it was on a forest road, which is just the way I like to make my loops. Hard to begin with and easy when it gets hard. The body was not cooperating this weekend. Particularly the left leg just was not at its worst, but darn close. And that made it a little bit more difficult to get through some things, but still very much enjoyed the hilly terrain, being able to walk past the lakes. Had a trip down memory lane, meeting somebody from previous adventure races, constantly buttoning this pocket that won't stay shut. And we got to make our own snowshoe trail this morning, which is always neat, being the first one through on a trail for snowshoes. Particularly this one is we only punched in about 2 inches and it was light powdery stuff, not like some of the wet sloppy stuff that I've had to go through before, or as happened in the Blue Hills area where I punched through 8 inches of snow. That was very tough. This was very nice going, and now we have a track for the way back. That'll do it from the North Country Trail, guys. We'll see you again in another video. Well, what do you think, trekker? Should we mess with somebody's head? Watch this. Now tell me, what track is that? I think it's the Extendus tripodus. That's mean.